All right, guys, today we have a lot of interesting next-gen news and information to go over and talk about. So I'm going to get into it. If you could do me a favor, be sure to hit the like button. It's a really easy way for you to show your support and help the video out. Hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit the bell notification icon as well, so you can be notified anytime a new video goes live here on the channel. What I want to start talking about right now has to do with Demon's Souls remake on the PlayStation 5. And specifically the performance mode, because Digital Foundry recently did their tech breakdown, and they did reveal some things that honestly I found kind of surprising, or maybe reasons you aren't expecting. But this is something that I've seen a lot of people talking about, and for those of you who are not aware, it seems as though the performance mode that Demon's Souls is going to offer, it's going to run at 1440p at 60 frames per second. And Digital Foundry was a little bit unsure about ray tracing in this mode. They said they can't either confirm or deny it. I don't know why. Maybe they just weren't able to look into it enough. So we can't say definitively whether or not the performance mode of Demon's Souls is going to offer any form of ray tracing. But to just give my thoughts and opinion on this, I have to say I was pretty surprised to discover this, because when I went back and I watched the Demon's Souls gameplay trailer, I watched it on my big screen TV in 4K at 60 FPS, or what I thought was 4K, and that's it right there. Is when I was watching it, I really thought that what I was looking at was a native 4K image. And a lot of people have since told me that's because a lot of the assets, if not all of the assets, are actually native 4K. And so even when it's running at a 1440p resolution, it may be using some type of, technology that we're not aware of right now to kind of make it look even better. But because of these 4K assets, it just looks that good. And I have to say, if there is actually a graphics mode, right? And we know that this is a thing. Sony has already confirmed, by the way, or Bluepoint, I should say, has confirmed that they will be offering 2 modes. This seems to be a consistent theme running throughout all of Sony's first-party games or any of their exclusive titles. They're going to offer a performance and a graphical fidelity mode. If the game looks this good in the performance mode, then I can only imagine just how good it's going to look running in the graphics mode. It'll probably hit native 4K consistently the entire time. There's no doubt it'll be running at 30 frames per second at that point, and I have to imagine ray tracing will be turned up as high as it possibly can be. But either way, I have no problem with this. I've seen some people really trying to make a big deal out of this, and I'm not seeing it. The game looks amazing. I think a lot of times people kind of stray too far away from what this is all about at the end of the day. If you are a gamer, then that means you enjoy playing video games, and the enjoyment of playing video games honestly has never really come down to resolutions or frame rates. Yes, those things are nice as well as very expected going into the next generation, but I just don't really understand how anybody could honestly watch that gameplay trailer and walk away from it thinking, man, I feel like that could look a lot better, or man, I just can't really enjoy this game as much now knowing it runs at 1440p. So yeah, I'm all for this. I think it's great that they're offering the option. Just to wrap this little conversation up, you guys know I've always said that if there needs to be a compromise, which it seems kind of obvious that next gen, there's going to need to be a compromise. I think it's a little bit unrealistic for anybody to expect like native 4K 60 FPS with full-blown ray tracing across all titles. These machines are very powerful, they are very capable, but even that I think is expecting just a little bit too much, honestly. As long as they're giving us the option to choose, then I'm okay with that. And to be completely honest, with how good Demon's Souls looks in the performance mode, I think most people are going to be perfectly fine with the performance mode. But anyway, we're going to move right along here and talk about the Dualsense controller briefly, because apparently some images have surfaced online actually showing the Dualsense kind of pulled apart in a way, disassembled, and a little bit of a teardown of the controller. It says here, ever wondered what the PS5 Dualsense controller would look like in its disassembled form? Yes, well, you are in luck. Instagram user Impact Controller has posted up images of Sony's new pad in the buff, so to speak. And so I'll throw the image up on screen, and they actually really did tear down the entire controller. And there's nothing here that, in my opinion, is too surprising. I mean, this is kind of what I would expect it to look like in its disassembled form. But what I did find interesting is they did also post some close-up shots of the controller, and specifically looking at the analog sticks. To me, this is something that is going to make a huge difference for me personally, is when you look at the close-up image of the analog stick, you see the grip around it. This is something that the PlayStation 4's DualShock 4 controller was always missing, and it always felt like it was something that I really would have liked to be there, because that's the one issue I've always had with the DualShock 4, is how slippery the actual analog sticks can be. And so even though, this grip will eventually wear down over time, it's still really nice. I'm expecting it to offer a much better experience, for me anyway, when playing. But they also did show another close-up shot of the actual PlayStation symbols that are etched into the controller, which is pretty crazy to look at. So there you go. Is this some type of hint that we're going to get the console teardown anytime soon? No, it's not, because this isn't coming officially from Sony, but this is a real image we are looking at, because if I'm not mistaken, Impact Controller, they're like a third-party controller manufacturer or something like that. So, if this is a fake, it's a really good one, but to me it seems pretty obvious that it's not. But what I want to end this video talking about is the Xbox Series X, because hands-on impressions have actually went up today, or previews I should say. And this is a little bit of a strange situation to me, because we're looking at a situation where we're hearing about the first previews of the Series X, but what's really off-putting to me is the fact that the previews are focusing on everything but new games running on the Series X. And this is a problem that we've continued to talk about. A lot of people assume that the only reason I'm bringing this up is to be negative towards Xbox, but that's really not it. I think it's as simple as I'm still interested in Xbox, and I still am considering purchasing one at some point, going into the next generation, possibly at some point. But I can tell you right now that the most important thing for me is I want to see games running on this console. I really don't think there's anything unreasonable or irrational about that, and I don't think that me stating that is something that should be perceived as me hating on Xbox or being a downer or whatnot, because I do think a lot of the stuff they did actually reveal has to do with how backwards compatible games will actually be boosted in a significant way without the developers even touching it, which is really cool. It's focusing on load times, quick resume, stuff that is very cool and very much welcome when it comes to upgrading to a next-gen console. But it's just really strange to me that we still have yet to see a single new game fully optimized for the Series X running on it. You would assume that being this close to launch, and this being the first major preview of people going hands-on with it, that would be the thing they're going to want to talk about first. I've seen a lot of people say that they're just saving it, and I have to believe that is the case here. I will say, though, that if that is in fact the case, and that is what Microsoft is doing, they are cutting it very close. I mean, people can bring up the fact that we haven't seen the PlayStation 5's UI, we haven't seen the teardown, and I agree. I'm eager to see and hear more about that, but I just don't think you can kind of equate that to what we're seeing here. Sony has showed many games. They've showed many games running on the PS5, and I think we can all agree that that's probably the most important thing at the end of the day. But one of the more interesting things that we learned about with this preview has to do with quick resume. It says, now thanks to multiple hands-on previews posted by several media outlets, we have a clearer picture of how the feature works. GameSpot mentions that they were able to use quick resume to suspend 6 games at the same time, and when they tried to suspend a 7th, the game they had suspended before all the others was pushed out of the queue and had to be rebooted. It also seems like switching between all of the suspended apps is rather quick, with GameSpot's piece stating that it takes roughly 5 to 8 seconds to jump from whatever you're playing to a suspended game and jump into the action, which picks up exactly where it had been suspended. Now, this isn't officially clarified by Microsoft, like exactly how many games, but I still think that is a cool feature, and it's a feature that I fully expect to see on the PlayStation 5 as well. And I do think that that is one of the standout things here. And I do just want to really wrap this video up, just run down what Jeff Keighley specifically had to say, because he kept it pretty brief and condensed over on his Twitter. He says impressions are limited to backwards compatible content and system level features. We have not played next gen games. And again, to me, that kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. But he posts below that, thoughts, quick resume is a game changer. Love being able to instantly jump in exactly where I left off. He also goes on to say overall massive quality of life improvements to the Xbox experience. Everything, including UI, is super quick and responsive. System is quiet, super easy to set up. Happy to answer questions here if I can. And so he does go on to answer some questions. So I will actually post this down below so you can go check out the thread more in depth if you are interested in hearing about any of that. But that's pretty much going to do it for the video, guys. I wanted to let you guys know my thoughts on Demon Souls and the conversation surrounding that. Let you guys know that the PlayStation 5 DualSense controller has been disassembled apparently. And let you guys know that the Xbox Series X first round of previews, it's out there in the wild right now, and I do think it's strange that there are no next-gen games. And, you know, just to say one last thing here before ending it, some people are confusing what I mean by next-gen games, and I think what Jeff Keighley means. We're not talking about next-gen only games. We're just talking about any new games whatsoever, whether it's from Microsoft's first party or their partners that are optimized for the Series X, seeing what they're going to look like. We're going to have to wait to see when Microsoft is going to reveal that, but I am genuinely interested. I mean, for as powerful as this console is, for everything it's offering, I'm genuinely interested to see what games are going to look like. So that does it for the video. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Leave it a like, again, if you did enjoy it or found it informative. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and haven't already. Hit the bell notification icon so you never miss an upload, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.